everybody, welcome to another video, and today we're reading chapter 7 of Goldie. Last chapter, it was chapter 6, and hopefully you guys enjoyed that video if you've seen it. If you haven't, make sure to go back to my channel and make sure to watch and like all my videos and subscribe to my channel, please. Chapter 7. Charles and Lizzie stared at their father. "What?" Charles asked. "Someone already called," Lizzie said at the same time. "Dad!" Charles wailed. Just then, Rufus chased Goldie right into Charles. "Oof," he said, bending down to pick Goldie up. He held her tight. "No one's taking you," he whispered into her ear. "It's too soon." "Charles, I know your mum talked to you about this. We agreed that we'd keep Goldie, but only until we found her a good home." His dad reached out to peek Goldie's head. "Who's a good girl?" he said softly. Charles could tell his dad didn't want Goldie to go either. "But how do we know if it's a good home?" Charles asked. "We interview them, that's how," said Lizzie. "I already did some research on this. I downloaded a questionnaire we can use." Dad looked a little surprised. "Well, that's interesting, Lizzie, but really I'm not sure it's necessary. These people sound very nice, and do they have a fenced-in yard? Do they understand the nutritional needs of a puppy? Is someone going to be home most of the day?" Lizzie demanded. Now Dad really looked surprised. "You know," he said, "those are actually very good questions. I suppose it couldn't hurt to ask some of them." Charles still couldn't believe that they were going to have to give up Goldie. "But Dad, can't we keep her, please?" Dad shook his head. "A full-time dog is a lot of responsibility. Now if we were talking about a cat," he said, "your mum might feel differently." Charles knew Dad was just trying to make him smile, but he just couldn't. "Okay," said Dad. "Look, we have to get home. They'll be here any minute." He glanced over at Rufus, who stood panting next to Sammy. Rufus's eyes were bright as they stared up at Goldie. His tongue was hanging out as he panted happily. He obviously wanted to play some more. "Is that the dog you were telling us about yesterday?" Dad asked Sammy. "He sure doesn't look bored and lazy. Exhausted maybe, but not bored." As he picked up the leash, Sammy smiled at Rufus. "I know," he said. "He's like a whole other dog. He liked playing with Goldie." Rufus licked Sammy's hand. "I bet your dad'll be happy. I know he misses his old sidekick. I used to see them out running together early in the morning." Dad started walking back towards home. "Come on, guys. We need to get Goldie home so she can meet these folks who want to adopt her." Mum was mopping the kitchen floor when they walked in. "Hey," she said, "wash the footprints. I don't want these people to think we're slobs." "Mum," Lizzie said, "it doesn't matter what they think of us." "I know," her mum said, "but they sound like a sweet older couple. But they want to take Goldie down with them in their RV when they head down to Florida this winter." "Older couple?" Lizzie asked doubtfully. "RV," Charles said. He knew what that was. A tiny little house on wheels. Definitely not a place for a young golden retriever. "Goldie needs a home where she can run around. She's going to need a lot of exercise. Look at her. She's been playing around for an hour and she's not even tired." It was true. At that moment, Goldie was bounding after the bean. He had her ducky and he was toddling away as fast as he could. Goldie grabbed hold of one of the wings and the bean sat down with a bump. Everyone waited for a second. Was he going to start crying? But the bean just laughed his googly laugh. Just then the doorbell rang. No one ever used the front door, much less the doorbell. "That must be them," said Mum, wiping her hands on a towel. "I'll get the interview forms," Lizzie said. She dashed upstairs. Charles followed his parents to the door. The bean and Goldie followed Charles. There was a long, boring round of introductions as the people, a tiny grey-haired lady and a tall, stoop-shouldered, bald man, came in and sat down in the living room. "We are so excited about having a tiny little puppy to keep us company," the woman said. "Well, here she is," said Mum. "This is Goldie." She picked up Goldie and brought her over to put her in the lady's lap. "Why isn't she adorable?" said the lady. But Charles noticed she set Goldie back down on the floor without kissing her once. "Hey there, little champ," said the man, bending down to give Goldie a hearty pat on the ribs. "Aren't you a sturdy little thing?" Goldie wondered who these people were. Why were they here? Her people were being nice to these new folks, so Goldie tried to be nice too. She put her paws up on the man's knees and barked happily. "Goldie!" said Mum. "She doesn't usually do that," she told the people. She's really very well behaved." Charles stared at his mother. Was she really thinking of giving Goldie to these people? Lizzie pounded down the stairs with some paper in her hand. "Got it," she said. She plopped down in the chair. "Do you have a bed prepared for Goldie?" she asked, without waiting for an introduction. "Lizzie," Dad began, "this is Mr. But she rushed right along. Is your house puppy-proofed? Which of you will be the primary caretaker? Have you looked into a puppy kindergarten class? Which vet will you take Goldie to?" Lizzie wasn't even waiting for answers. Not that it mattered. Charles could see that the man and the lady were obviously not about to answer. The lady looked from Lizzie to her husband. "Well, I never," she grumbled, and the man just sat there with her arms crossed and her eyebrows raised. "I'm sorry, please don't mind my daughter. You sound like very nice people, and I'm sure—" Just then Goldie took the cuff of the man's pants in her teeth and started to pull, growling a little as she shook it back and forth. Suddenly there was a loud ripping noise. A surprised Goldie sat back down, holding a shred of material in her mouth. The man's eyes grew wide. His wife stopped grumbling, and Charles burst into laughter. "Oh no! Naughty Goldie! I wonder if Goldie will ever find a home." Let's hope Goldie finds a home, and I'll see you in the next chapter. Bye!